What can I say nice about Donkey Kong? Well, the Mario sprite is multicolored and looks nice, and the girder level has some pretty gentle slopes, which is not standard for the Atari, so that's pretty cool. No, that's about it. Okay, now on to the problems. Only 2 screens out of 4. Rolling Ritz crackers instead of barrels. Donkey Kong looks like a gingerbread man. Collision detection is unforgiving. And there are only 2 sound effects. Mario walking and jumping, and that tiny end stage too. So before I get to the rating and my reasoning for it, let's talk a little bit about that rumor that Coleco intentionally made subpar ports of games like Donkey Kong for their competing consoles to make the ColecoVision look that much better. This makes for a great story, but it doesn't make sense from a sales standpoint. Look, when ColecoVision launched in '82, there were already millions of installed VCSs, so the more you could sell, the better for Coleco. In 1985, Coleco sold 8 million video game cartridges, but only 2 million of those were for their own console. The rest were for their competitors, Mattel and Atari. So intentionally tanking the quality of games just doesn't make sense for Coleco's bottom line. What I do believe, though, is that Coleco didn't hold Donkey Kong ports for other consoles to the same high standards as software for their own machine. If the ColecoVision port looked like this, it would have gone back to the drawing board. But since it wasn't, they allowed it to ship as is despite all the obvious room for improvement. And we know, historically, there is room for improvement. In my opinion, this feels way less intentional and much more like a, hey, while you're at it, do Donkey Kong for the other consoles too, and less of a, let's absolutely make a terrible port for the other consoles. And so now for the rating, and I'm torn here. Look, I vividly remember ordering Donkey Kong from a catalog, the interminable weeks of waiting for it to arrive, then it got in the mailbox, I got home, tore it open, threw it in the 2600, and played it for the first time and was absolutely crestfallen. Now, what I will tell you is despite the initial negative impression of Donkey Kong, I played the living crap out of it because it's Donkey Kong. And so look, Donkey Kong probably deserves an F, but since I'm trying to evaluate this through the eyes of little Johnny, and I remember little Johnny loving to play this despite his knowledge that it was not that good, I'm going to begrudgingly award Donkey Kong a D on our tier.